just getting the live stream up and running. Bear with me, and then we'll go for a fly. Okay, let's see if we can remember how to configure this aeroplane. So first things first, let's get rid of the passenger, because the people in Flight Simulator annoy the hell out of me. 0, that's him gone. Okay, batteries on. Fuel shut-off valve open. I haven't actually checked how much fuel it's got. We'll find out. We might have to stop en route. So Paradiski or Daisky is saying hi. Hello. I'm just trying to remember how to start this thing. So it's a turboprop, so we won't introduce fuel straight away. We'll go and put the beacon light on first though. And I have a vague memory about turning the instrument lights on and doing the starter. Now I can't remember off the top of my head what percentages I'm looking for, but I know I'll need the propeller to go faster than that. So then okay, that's looking good. So we'll leave it in idle for the moment and we'll increase the throttle gently. Just going to go and turn my own volume up so I can actually hear anything, because I can't at the moment. Did this need the ignition as well then? It is so long since I've flown this, it's almost funny. Oh, here we go. This is... Obviously it did. There it goes. Okay, we have an engine. Turn the generator on, we have electricity. Turn the nav lights on. And the landing lights. Don't need cabin lights, it's broad daylight. I'm just wondering why I don't have a working... Oh, avionics would be good, wouldn't it? Avionics bus 1 and 2. We don't need fans, we don't need external fuel pumps or anything like that. But I am going to turn the propeller speed down while we're sat here on the ground. So we've warmed it up nicely. Okay, let's go and program our route in for the evening. We are... That's a good point actually. Can we put the GNS in this? If we turn the tablet on, will it do it while we're in the sim? Apparently not. So we get the GNS 530 or nothing. Okay, that's fine. We'll use the GNS 530 then. So flight plan. We are going to go from... Oh, it's the old version. Interesting. Let's have a look. And let's pull up the Google Terrain view because it looks nicer. There we go. 1A5. So, do we even bother? Because we're going to have to key all these in by hand. I'm not going to bother. So we're not actually going to use... So there's no point having the GPS there if we're not going to use it. So let's go and remove it from the aeroplane. That's better. What else can we throw away? Why are we getting warnings? Prop low. Just checking the engine's working okay because it's being a bit odd. It's looking a bit happier now. Okay, so we're going to use Little Nav Map to navigate. So first leg is over to Jackson County, so 67 degrees, 12 miles. Can we get lost in 12 miles? So just looking at the live stream chat, the GPS that was there, it was the old version. It doesn't have the keyboard options. That's why I showed some exclamation when I saw it. Now, have I got this set to use the reverse? Yes, I have. That's what was throwing me. So we're going to taxi down to the far end. Not that we need much of a takeoff roll in this aeroplane, but helps if you look where you're going when you're changing views, doesn't it? I love how the random lights are placed all over the place sometimes in this simulator. It does make me laugh. You have to kind of weave through them or knock them all over. If in doubt, get the tail off the ground so you don't have to corkscrew all over the wrong way. Okay, just before we do set off in any particular direction, I just want to make sure of where things are in terms of reading things around the cockpit. So it's fuel flow, oil pressure, torque. got the air temperature out there. Just trying to get familiar with the aeroplane again. It's so long since I've been in one of these in the simulator. It's kind of funny, really. Okay, so fuel quantity is over there. That's the important one we want to know about. So we wanted about 70 degrees, didn't we? I think that's what we said. So we're just flying down over the lake down here. Let's have a look. Or the river, I should say. It's a beautiful day for a flight. So let's just look out sideways. Oh, we can't really see much in this cockpit unless we lean out over the wing. Okay, should we go on our way? So turn back around. So we're coming back somewhere near the route, 67 degrees, so 70 degrees from where we'll end up. So just keep an eye on the compass. We've got this ridge line to clear over here, but we're in the right aeroplane to do it. So I'm just going to pull the RPM back a little bit. Oh, a little bit, he says. Look at that. So can we pull the... There we go. So 70 degrees. We're not going to use autopilot. We'll hand fly it today. Bit more fun, isn't it? He says as he lets go of the controls, and it's a shame when you move around the cockpit it doesn't do weight displacement. I think that would be great fun. We're not in Hawaii, we're in the border between North Carolina and Georgia in the US. So what I was looking for was small airfields near water. So we'll have something to look at along the way, and near hills. So yeah, we get some nice views out over the landscape around here, hopefully. So the actual name of this area, if I get it right, is the Nantahala National Forest. I'm not sure how you say it correctly. Whereas Nantahala, I'm not sure. But the forests cross the border between North Carolina and Georgia. I'm not in Germany. I'm in the US. So this road that sweeps through, the place we're going is over the ridgeline over here, somewhere. Jackson County, 24A is the ICAO code for the airfield. We should see it. Oh, we would see it if we had a GPS switched on, but we ripped it out of the aeroplane and left it on the ground at the departure airfield. Yeah, this is a gorgeous part of the world to fly around. And the right sort of aeroplane to be doing it in. I mean, look at that. This is live weather, by the way. I almost always fly with live weather. The reason you see me so often flying in the US is purely because it's daylight when I get a chance to fly, which is usually late night for me in the UK. Okay. So we're going in roughly the right direction, I believe. Yeah, we're just coming in towards the airfield. So keep an eye out over the end of this ridge for an airfield. Of course, it may be on the ridge. Let's have a look at that map again. Yeah, it's on top of the ridge, look. So if we nose down, we'll circle it before we attempt to land there. We'll also have a look at the wind. Wind is from the northwest, 18 knots. It's quite windy then. So support's coming in from this side. But we'll circle it first and have a look at it out the window here. Nice helipad down there. I think I've been here before. I seem to remember I tested out the PC-21 here. I recognise the turning point on the ridge. It was about 18 months ago maybe, or a year ago. Okay, so let's just circle round and then we'll come in. I guess it's runway 33, is it? Can't quite see it down there. Yeah, runway 33. So this is Jackson County that we are approaching. Make sure there's no massive hills in front of us. Okay, so flaps. Press F. So we're just doing a touch and go, we're not doing a full stop. Avoid the trees and dip down again. Oh, bounce. Misjudged that. There was suddenly a bit of a downdraft as we got near the runway. So flaps back up. This airplane just wants to fly. It's so easy to control. And plus we've got no cargo, so we're incredibly light. Okay, so Jackson County, we're off now 300 degrees, so we could follow the road and go to Bryson City. So should we do that? Should we go along the road over to the right of us? So let's go and have a look. So we're going to follow this valley around, I guess. Go out of the nose so we can actually have a look around. The only thing wrong with the PC6 is there is so much cockpit in the way. I guess we could do it from outside, couldn't we? There's quite a lot of turbulence over these hills. I'm being thrown around a little bit. Yeah, an engine failure around here would be, I'm just reading the live stream comments, would be fun, wouldn't it? You'd be immediately looking for a piece of riverbank, or I mean, main road would be too dangerous because of traffic, but any patch where there's no trees around. I guess you could get alongside the road maybe. Whoa, look at this. What is going on there? Is it a quarry? I wonder what sort of stone they're extracting. I mean, that looks like sandstone. Could be limestone. Just looking at the colour on the ground. Loud is the engine. Oh, the engine's almost drowning me out, isn't it? Should we turn it down a bit? There we go. That's better. So I don't have to shout over the top of it. There's a lot of traffic, isn't there? Must be a busy road. So we're just coming down over Wilmot. We just passed over the Holiday Inn Express. Give you all the best tips for travel around here, don't I? The roads certainly are busy around here. So, I'm guessing the fuel is in the overhead tanks in this thing, so they're going to, the fuel tanks are going to deplete at the same rate as each other, so we don't have to worry about that. It's gravity fed from the wings. Amazing place in the world, isn't it? Looks gorgeous. So should be coming around this corner and finding Sossaman Field, which is on the edge. It's Bryson City, and Sossaman Field is on the alongside the water here. So we should get visuals on it very soon. Just over here somewhere. Again, we'll circle overhead to figure out how we're going to approach it and have a look at the wind direction when we're a bit closer. So we're about 3 miles out, 4 miles out. Follow the river. It should take us straight to the airfield. Obviously along here we've got some places to land now if we have an engine failure. Some nice fields to put down in. That isn't the airfield, is it? No, that's just a piece of farm land. It's not going to be so different than that. Is it just round this corner, I think? The actual airstrip. Yeah. So a bit of reconnaissance required. So let's have a look out the window as we approach. I think this is it here, in the trees. It's just coming into view now. Okay, so which way is the wind? 2 knots crosswind or 2 knots gusting. So we can choose which direction we come in, to be honest. So should we do a right circuit in? If I dump the nose, lose some speed. So we need to reduce airspeed to get the flaps down. So airspeed's bleeding off slowly. Flaps are 50%. Going to full flaps now. And we'll sit up in the seat so we can see over the nose. Full power, and we're lifted straight off the ground with full power. Obviously the thrust hits the flaps and we're up again. Okay, so we need to do a 180 basically, so it makes more sense to turn left because there are less hills this side. What a great day for a flight. So we're just coming around. We want 280 degrees. We'll basically follow this valley down, I guess. Just trim the elevators. So we're doing about 100 and, or we will be doing about 110 in a moment. Indicated airspeed's climbing. I'm just going to trim that out. Obviously as we get faster we gain more lift and it lifts the nose. Yeah, so we can just basically follow the lake. So the lake is Fontana Lake, and we can take it all the way down to this waypoint down here of Higgy. So this was really just a bit of a detour to go and fly along the lake. So let's go and do that. Come come off the throttle as we descend so we don't overspeed. Oh, fantastic scenery. It's a shame they haven't quite got the edge of water sorted out yet, isn't it? How are we doing on the map? So stay on the course along the lake. Should we get a little bit of altitude so we can actually see the lay of the land around the lake? So just pushing the airplane up into the sky a little. Let's keep an eye on the engines. It doesn't like being pushed on that hard, does it? Just over talking it there as I started climbing. It's a lot happier now. Oh, we have an airplane with us. Is that a cub of some description? Yeah, you can see he's being thrown around by the turbulence as well. He's a bit lighter than me, so he's being thrown around that bit more. So someone's asking what sort of engine this has got. It's a turboprop. So it's a gas turbine with a gearbox. And a propeller. This is why it's such a long nose. So I guess the turbine's probably here, and then you've got the shaft that's driven. The turbine puts, I don't know if you saw my video about this recently, when you have a turboprop, the turbine's pointing backwards, so the thrust from the turbine comes out and the hot air exits after pushing the turbine blade that spins the propeller. So the hot air exits through here. But most of the exhaust gas from the gas turbine is used to drive a propeller inside here that drives the main propeller. But there's a reduction gear involved as well usually. This is like something from a fairyland, isn't it, along here? Very strange. Okay, so there are some campgrounds around here, so I'm guessing if you had some stall aeroplanes, if you could figure out places to land, you could do some camping trips. but you'd have to go and scout out some flat areas, I guess. I mean, there's some around, but they're not very big. Certainly not big enough and not flat enough to land an aeroplane on. If you went scouting out through some of these valleys, you might find some good places that you could put down a Savage Carbon or something like that, or a Zenith. Okay, so we're just coming up to the turn at Higgy, where we're going to turn over Fontana Marina. There is a dam here, so we'll have a look at the dam before we turn, just to see if it's modelled. It may not be, because it's such a remote location. If it's not like a tourist attraction, it won't probably be there. So this is the Milviz or Blackbird Simulations version of the PC6. It's not the stock Microsoft one, which is why you could see there was a bit more fidelity in the cockpit. And the flight model is obviously that bit more realistic. That said, it was one of the early planes that Milviz made for Flight Simulator, so it's not as good as some of their later ones. Like, you know, things like the 310. It hasn't got as much flexibility in the configuration or modelling of failures or dirt or anything like that. The 310 is a bit of a all-rounder, isn't it? Does all sorts of things. Just keeping an eye on the torque there. We're getting right near the limit, aren't we? Just going to pull the power back a little bit. So where is the dam? It's just off the next. It's down here somewhere. Oh, this is it, isn't it? So if we sit up, this is the dam. Okay. So we can see it. Let's see how good a quality their photogrammetry is then. It looks pretty good actually, doesn't it? I'm amazed, to be honest. I wasn't expecting it to be any good. That's actually really, really good. Very cool. Okay, so off across the hills. So what direction do we need to be going? 200 degrees. So just coming up to this ridge line. Turning to 200 degrees. We're going to be passing over Lake Santitla. Whoa, the turbulence is fun out here. We've still got a partner in crime over there, doing his best as well, getting thrown around by the wind gusting over the hilltops. Should we turn FS Realistic on? So we'll just give a bit more movement. I think we can... Is it got a master volume? So that's just the wind. I don't think it's got a master... Yeah, it's on 100, okay. So obviously you can see it's juddering the airframe around a little bit, which is fun. Yeah, we're a bit more wobbly now than we were. How are we doing? That's the only problem with FS Realistic is you have to get a tabbing right, otherwise it sticks. I asked the developer twice if they could stop it from becoming like a modal application when you tab to it, and they ignored me completely. But then they also ignored everybody that told them to remove the walking mode from FS Realistic. I've never seen anybody harm their product with such a ridiculous feature so quickly and so disastrously. Okay, so we are on our way to Andrews Murphy, Kilo Romeo Hotel Papa. So we're just flying over Lake Santitla. So let's have a look at it from the camera. It's an amazing part of the world, isn't it? So let's just have a quick look at the map. So we're going to come over a ridge line in a few miles, about 8 miles to time, which is this line we can see out here. And then once we come over the ridge line, if we keep going 200 degrees, once we come over that ridge line, we should see Andrews Murphy. So Hanny says hello from Toronto. Greetings from Buckinghamshire, England. I guess we could have some fun skimming the hilltops, couldn't we? We're in the right aeroplane to do it, after all. So let's pull the throttle back a bit, so we don't overspeed. Oh, that turbulence really is a bit vicious, though. Not the kind of day to be doing this, really. And we do need to get over that ridge line. I don't want to over torque the propeller, so we'll see how we do. Still holding 200 degrees. Coming up to the ridge. Got a fair way to go yet, actually. And then drop down on top of Andrews Murphy. Looking at the wind, we need to check the wind at the airport. We can't go by the indication in Little Nav Map because it's wrong. This is way down in the bottom of the valley. So yeah, we've got 70 degrees 4 knots. So runway 08 we'll be looking for. So we're now along the top of the ridge. And then we drop down into the valley. So on the ground down at Andrews Murphy there's only 4 knots of wind. So we really don't need to worry. Is that it that we can see over here? Yep, that looks like a runway to me. Well, I'm hoping it's a runway. So we want to come in from this side. Yeah, you can see the airfield now. You sit up. So we're going to start slowing down. We should be able to swing into the wind and slow down. Obviously we're holding speed at the moment as we descend, but we can soon correct that. How are we doing for speed? So lift the nose a little bit so we can get the flaps down. Do you know what I'm inclined to do is to actually loop around right to get to the airfield. So I'm going to hang on for a moment. And now turn right and hope for the best. Because this scenery is stunning, isn't it? Very, very cool. This should bring us onto the runway quite nicely. And into the wind. So we're a little bit high, so we'll just descend so the lights come on correctly. There we go, 1 red light, 2 red lights, and we're on track. Oh, 3 red lights, we're a bit low. 2 red lights. If you're wondering what I'm talking about these lights alongside the runway. You need 2 whites and 2 reds. That means you are in the correct glide slope to hit the markers, which you can see we are absolutely about to do if we don't flare. And pull the aeroplane back into the air, lift the flaps to 50%, let the aeroplane increase in speed. Flaps up the rest of the way, and we'll have a look at where we're going next. So we're going to turn to 204 degrees, carry on down to Blairsville. So we could get the, whoops, if I could control the mouse. Get the heading bug around to 204 while we're turning. What amazing scenery. So Chattanooga says good morning from Germany. Of course it's gone midnight now, hasn't it? For you, you're a couple of hours ahead of me. Okay, let's just straighten this route out. 204 degrees we want now. So 21 miles down to Blairsville. That turbulence really is quite marked, isn't it? It's quite strong. Being thrown around. We're both being thrown around. It's quite amusing, really. Right, I better keep an eye out in front because I know this ridge is coming. Look at the mountains out there in the distance. Fantastic. Should we do a bit of a bobsleigh run along this hilltop? Okay, 10980 for the well, that's a good point, because I got rid of the radio kit. I'm guessing that means this is dead in the water now. Oh, that's a shame. So you have to have the GPS. I wonder if you can have old-fashioned radios instead. Configuration. No, you could just get rid of the radio entirely, or you have the GPS. That's a shame. So you can't play games with VOR navigation. So you've still got an HSI, but you've got nothing to tune in with. So we're just coming up to the border between North Carolina and Georgia. So Philippe is saying, do we have a schedule for the live streams? Nope. is whenever I can make it to do one, really. I'm in Alaska and I often find I just missed one. Zulu -9. Love to be able to know when you are so you can plan. Your best chance to fly online with people, if you want to do that, is to join other group flights. Oh, they're probably out of your time zone now, aren't they? For virtual flight online, they tend to fly at about 8 o'clock in the evening, UTC, which is going to be far too early for you. Okay, how are we doing on the route? So we're about 12 miles out from Blairsville. So once we finish at Blairsville, we're going to go zooming off on the last leg and end up at a place called Heaven's Landing. It's an interesting little building down here. Can we see it any better? I think it's just probably some food creation sheds of some description. Or is it? Who knows? I love the way the simulator does the kind of the mist in the distance. It's very, very good at that. Okay, so there's some sort of feature on top of the hill off of our left wing. I bet we can't see it from here. Let's do it from outside. I think it's on top of that hill over there. So about 6 miles to run. Going to cross over the water, and we should find the airfield just over here at the other side of the water. So Andy is saying loves the channel. Thank you very much. I've used the flight simulator in the early 90s, so much different now than it was then. It is, it's a completely different animal, isn't it? We were talking, myself and a group of friends at the weekend, saying, can you imagine what this is going to be like in another 10 years? You won't be able to tell the difference, will you, between... Although, saying that, it's taken movies a good 25 years to get from what we thought was great special effects to where you can't tell anymore. So it could be a lot longer than we think to get to the point where you can't tell. It's kind of law of diminishing returns, isn't it, with this sort of stuff. There we go, we can see the beacon flashing on the airfield. So, what's the wind doing on the ground at Blairsville? It's doing 320 degrees, 5 knots, which is going to be a crosswind. So we can go either 8, 0 or 26. It's really not going to make much difference. So I'm inclined to turn right and do a left circuit in, just because it's easy to think about. So I'm slowing down already. It's a nice long runway though. So let's turn out over the farmland. Was that an aeroplane that just threw? Yeah, just cast a shadow on us. We're just extending a little, and then we'll begin turning. Quite a marked crosswind, isn't it? You can see me having to crab to hold the centre line. It's interesting how there's no people in this aeroplane. And oh, there they go. People have just arrived. As if by magic. Okay. So we are already going the right direction. So we're on 88 degrees all the way to Heaven's Landing. Look out the window, we should see a little aeroplane come by. There he goes. I wonder what that is that you can go that fast. Although we're only doing... Should we push it on a little bit? Keep an eye on the torque. What is that little aeroplane? There's another quarry here, look. It's quite a big quarry. Looks like limestone again, doesn't it? So that plane that's been tagging along with us is another human. If I go and turn names on. Curly Toes. That's his username. So he's been tagging along ever since I took off. He's joined group flights with us in the past. He's a good guy. Did you account for the airspace restriction? Nope, I didn't account for any airspaces today at all. It's just a fun point-to-point flight through some of the valleys. It's interesting actually that you mentioned that, because the book I'm reading at the moment as part of the basic flight training stuff that I started covering on the YouTube channel a couple of months ago is all about air law and meteorology. So the air law part of it, I will be doing some videos explaining sectors to people and the different classes of sector. It's going to be interesting. I might have to draw some three-dimensional diagrams in something like SketchUp to draw some 3D shapes. We've got a downdraft trying to force us into the hill here, by the way. Had to fight to force the aeroplane over them. So yeah, Andy is saying it's awesome that you can see other users on the Flight Sim network. I'm sorry for some of the questions I'm... Oh yeah, so we do group flights most Sunday evenings, and on those group flights we often get 40-50 people all flying together, and going. It's amazing actually, because everybody tries to self-organise. So when you're on approach into an airfield, everybody will kind of get into a uniform line, one behind the other, and you see this stream of aeroplanes coming in, one behind the other. So it's great fun if you get there early, and look up either from the ground or as you're taking off and go to an external view, especially in the evening or the early morning, and you can see all the nav lights lined up in the sky. It's absolutely brilliant fun. Okay, I'm just going off towards the lake to do a bit of sightseeing before we turn back towards our destination. Yeah, so you can see that's a human player. Just make sure I'm not going to hit this hill. In fact, if Curly Toes can hear me, if he wants to fly straight and level for a while, should we go and form 8? I'll put my foot down and climb up to meet you. If you've not already gone, where have you gone? I have to turn labels on just so I can see him. This is the only problem with multiplayer, is sometimes you can't find people. Well, they've cleared off completely. Well, we won't worry too much about it. I'm going to come back off the power. Have a look at this lake before we leave the area. And we're heading in towards Heaven's Landing now. So if we maintain this heading, more or less, so 90 degrees, we should be good. Ah, there he is. Oh no, he's using slew. That's why he keeps jumping around. Okay, forget that then. So, oh, thanks very much, Andy. Just saw your contribution. Much appreciated. Here we go. So if we can get our accomplice here to fly straight and level for a while, I will slow down and formate on him. So I'll let him go in front of me. Okay. So we should be able to fly close formation quite easily. Although the turbulence might have something to say about that. Let's just sort the view out so we get a good view. As you can see, it's so turbulent today, it's making close formation quite difficult. Especially because their plane is so light compared to mine, they are really being chucked around. But yeah, you get some idea. It's quite good fun doing close formation in Flight Sim. Okay, where are we on the map? Let's have a look. Just heading in towards Heaven's Landing. So let's start concentrating. Thanks for that, for doing the formation. That was good fun. So Brad Woods is just coming to the channel. We started out in North Carolina. We dipped into Georgia. We may have gone back over the border. I'm just looking. No, we're still in Georgia. We're on the border between North Carolina and Georgia. But amazing weather. Really has been almost like picture postcard weather through the hills. So we're about 4 miles out from Heaven's Landing. Oh, yeah, Andy's saying about the physics in the simulator. You can actually, if you turn developer mode on, you can show the airflow over the aeroplane. It's absolutely stunning. The amount of work that's actually going on that you don't see in this simulator is ridiculous. Okay, what's that out there then? Not overflown the airfield yet, have we? No, we're almost on top of it though. So is it on top of this hill? Or is it just over the other side? It's on the hill. Have a look at it. Okay, let's have a look at the wind. So the wind at Heaven's Landing is 324 knots, so it's only a few knots of wind. So we don't really need to worry. It's a long airstrip, isn't it? So as previously, I'm going to do a left pan in from this. So overfly. Turn. Try and avoid the hilltop. Trying to get good visibility on the runway. Bring the flaps down. So yeah, on about the physics that's simulated in Flight Simulator, it does all sorts of things. It simulates P factor, it simulates the slipstream effect, torque from the engine, all sorts of things. It's stunning, and it simulates within the environment of the air around the aeroplane. It actually does fluid dynamics over the shape of the aeroplane. Some aeroplanes are better modelled than others though, because a lot of those physics simulations are optional in the building of the aeroplane, and not all aeroplanes have everything switched on. So you can see the windsock down there. It's blowing from the right, but not very strongly though. It's a bit gusty by the look of it. And we're down. This plane does have reverse or beta on the propeller, but we're not going to use it. We shouldn't need to. He says. That stopped us quickly, didn't it? This plane has got a radar pod on it. On one side, they may be external tanks actually, thinking about it. There's all sorts of options on this aeroplane. That's a helicopter, by the way. I just don't have the model for it. Kind of ruins the immersion when that happens, doesn't it? Okay, so if we pull the lever, shut the mixture off, turn the avionics. I'll wait until the engine spins down before turning the avionics completely off. So we've got generator off, ignition's already off, all the lights can come off. Avionics off. It's interesting, can we still have some power going on? Oh, we still got the battery on, that's why. And we should be able to then open the door. Can we go through it? No, we can't. It's interesting. We can open the doors inside as well, though, and I've forgotten how. Ah, here we go. So that's the Milviz or Blackbird Simulations PC6. Someone was asking about the tip tanks on, or the tanks on the wings. If you open the tablet, you can choose the configuration of the aeroplane to some extent. So we can see fuel extent, yeah, external wing tanks. So we removed them. Look. What else do we get that we can do? We can turn it into a skydiving configuration. So when we do that, the back of the aeroplane changes. So you get a cabin, seats in the back, and I think the pilot gets an exit klaxon that you can operate. I can't remember. You can have a passenger version as well. So I'm guessing if we put weight in the seats, then we'll get a person. Oh no, they don't render anybody, that's a shame. So if we say random load, what does that do? Yeah, so it doesn't actually draw people, which is a shame. One of the really nice things is you can go for the cargo option. So depending on how much weight you put in, you get different things appear. So a bigger box. Obviously if we put some weight in for a co-pilot, then we get a co-pilot sat there, which is pretty cool. If we put, what happens if we put loads of cargo in? Okay, so you get lots of things in the back of the plane. But yeah, it's very good. And once you're parked up, there's all sorts of things you can switch on outside, like exhaust, intake covers, tie downs, pitot covers. If we go and have a look round. Why did it give us... Why is it not giving us all of the options? Seems to be a bit of a bug there, doesn't it? Yeah, there is. Look, there's a bug. Interesting. I think we've just been buzzed. Yeah. How are they going to get the huge box through the cargo door? With difficulty, look. So they're going to have to slide things around and rearrange them internally to get things through the doors. But yeah, it's really nicely modelled, isn't it? Oh, we just got buzzed again. Is he going to do a hammerhead turn? Or he's going to have a go at it? Needed a bit more rudder. Right, I'm going to leave it there for the evening. Hopefully you all enjoyed that flight. It was fantastic weather, wasn't it? I'll have to come back to this part of the world with a group flight at some point. So that was good fun. Oh, another hammerhead turn. Needed more rudder again. Anyway, I'm going to see you again soon. Take care. Oh, we just watch him go past. See you soon.